Okay, so now that you spent some time learning about the Aryans that came into the area that is now India, we are going to spend the rest of the week really talking about the social class structure that the Aryans brought with them, and how that affected life in ancient India and then into modern day India. So, what I want you to be able to do is describe the social class structure of ancient India under the influence of the caste system, and then describe the influence of the caste system on India today. So we're going to do a quick review first. Okay, so remember that people settled near the Indus River, right here on the map, because of the favorable geographic characteristics, much like the same reasons that people settled near the Tigris and Euphrates in Mesopotamia and the Nile in Egypt. There was a river valley. They had fresh water, food, transportation and trade routes, resources, fertile land. There were lots of natural barriers that protected these people for many years. You had the Himalayas, the Indian Ocean, the Thar Desert, among other things. And then you had the monsoon winds that brought with them vital rain during the summer months that could be stored for times of need. So, from about 2500 BCE to 2000 BCE, you have the Indus Valley civilization at its peak. They were big cities that you learned about, Harappa and Mohenjo-daro, the largest, of about 40,000 people. They had a centralized government, urban planning, meaning city planning, with streets that were in grid like patterns, sewers, wells, standard bricks and measurements. They were polytheistic from what we can see, so they believed in many gods and goddesses, and it was likely run by a theocracy, so ruled by religious leaders. They had an egalitarian social class system. So everyone in the Indus Valley had water and sewage and access to things that were necessities. Homes were similar, and they traded with other civilizations, especially Mesopotamia. Around 1700 BCE, like you learned in the last part of the lessons, the Indus cities were abandoned. The reasons unknown, maybe an earthquake, maybe drying rivers, invasion, maybe even the monsoon patterns changed. But these people likely migrated to the Ganges River and broke apart into smaller communities. The people continued to exist, but could no longer build and support these large urban, meaning city areas. Around 1500 to 500 BC, you have this new group that you learned about before called the Aryans that come into power. Now you have villages that are led by rajas. A raja is a name for a prince, so we would categorize these types of governments as monarchies. The Aryans were skilled warriors and could ride horses. They had a high value on cattle. And then a belief system based on something called the Vedas, which will end up becoming Hinduism. And that's something we'll learn about more after break. They also bring in a social class system that becomes something called the caste system. So what is the caste system? The caste system is a social class system that a person is born into, and their status cannot be changed. Some scholars believe that the caste system started out simply as social classes that were based on jobs. Movement between these jobs and social classes may have been possible at first. Over time, however, the caste system became strict. It developed into a birth-based system, and whatever a caste a child's parents were in was also the caste of the child. So, for example, this social class pyramid shows you the caste system. So the caste system itself is a social class system. Each level, you could actually call the levels castes, but you could also call them varnas. So there were 4 varnas. You had Brahmins at the top, which were your priests, Kshatriyas, which were your rulers and warriors, Vishyas. They farmed their own land, artisans, merchants, and then Sudras or Shudras, which would be your unskilled workers and your servants. So those were the 4 basic levels, the 4 varnas. And then you'll notice this area down here. These people right here were not considered part of that system. They were lower than that system. They went by many names. Chandalas, untouchables today, they're called Dalits. These were the lowest jobs in ancient India, jobs dealing with sewage, maybe disposal of dead animals, removing hides for leather work. So if you look back at this system in Mesopotamia and in Egypt, and we've even talked about modern social classes, they too had a social class system. The names are different, obviously, in ancient India, and this system is going to be a lot more rigid, meaning, like I had talked about on the last slide, if you were born into this lower level, you would stay in this lower level for your whole life. There was no chance for upward movement. So some scientists believe that people in the higher castes may have been people of Aryan origin, those people that invaded. And this social order may have allowed the Aryans to keep power. There was an older religion called Brahmanism, which we won't learn much about. And then Hinduism, early Hinduism, which we'll learn more about later, supported the caste system. People were supposed to accept their place in society and do their jobs without complaining. Then again, you have that lower level. These people were outcasts. Think of where that word outcast probably comes from. They were out of the caste system, literally. For a long time, they were called untouchables. In modern times, a name would be Dalits. But again, ancient times could have been Shandalas, pariahs, untouchables. They weren't even part of a caste. They would perform those undesirable jobs. And they lived apart from the other castes. They were not allowed to even touch other people of different levels. The caste system was also incorporated into the Hindu belief system, which we will get more into after spring break. People of each caste, so people of each level, lived in their own communities. They were supposed to take care of each other. The duty a person had to their caste and community became their dharma in Hinduism, which again is something we'll talk more about after break. So from here, the first thing, you're going to notice a few different assignments. They're shorter assignments, most of them, that are going to go with this slideshow. But from here, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to pull up this document that's simply labeled the caste system true and false. You're going to read a little bit more just about the basics of the caste system. And then you're going to answer some true and false questions. If it's true, you write that. If it's false, I want you to actually change the statement to make it a true statement. So when you finish this, you'll submit it and then come right back to the slideshow where we're going to continue. So there were very strict rules of behavior about how to talk to each other and interact when different castes came in contact with each other. Lower caste people could not socialize or eat with the upper castes. The outcasts were considered unclean. Not only were they not allowed to touch someone in the caste system, but they could be punished if even their shadow fell upon them in ancient India. The upper caste were supposed to remain, quote unquote, unpolluted. The higher the caste, the stricter the rules. People would have to, in certain castes, would have to ritually bathe and keep a clean body, avoid touching anything that was dead, eat foods that were only allowed by the caste, avoid taking an object directly from someone's hands, avoid any body fluids from another. This might mean they can't touch a dish a person from a lower caste ate off of. In some cases, lower caste members would drink from clay cups that they had to destroy when they were done. So it really all depended on where you fell on that caste system. If rules were broken, for example, if a person of a low caste offended a person of a higher caste, they could be punished. The higher caste person would need to take a bath to become ritually pure. And people could be thrown out of their caste for breaking the rules, leaving them as a member of that lowest in society, the untouchables. Marriages in ancient India were often arranged. Parents would decide who their children would marry based on negotiations with the other family. Dating and marrying someone of a different caste was strictly forbidden, and in ancient India could lead to such harsh consequences as death. So again, from here, what you could do, you could pause this video, you could watch it through and then do it after, but you're then going to come to the second Google Doc that is posted in the Google Classroom, and that one is called Caste or Outcast. So for this, you're going to read through the different castes, read through the different jobs, what these people had to do, and then you're going to come over to the right-hand side and you're going to read the descriptions about traditional life, write the name of the caste that would most likely perform each of the jobs below. So for example, number 1, you're going to have to figure out which person, which level would accept offerings at the temple. And then you can erase this line and type your answer in. You'll submit this document into the Google Classroom, and then yet again, go back to the slideshow. So the next part of the assignment is actually going to a different document in the Google Classroom. And this one is a journal entry assignment. So once you have learned more about the caste system in those individual documents, learned more about the levels of the caste system, I want you to choose one of the Varnas. So essentially you're going to choose, maybe you want Brahmin or Kshatriyas or Vishyas or Sudras or the Untouchables. Choose one of those levels. And then I want you to think of the following. You're a person living in the caste system in ancient India around 2000 BCE under Aryan control. Write a journal entry, and I'm going to change that year. Let's say 1500 BCE under Aryan control. You're going to write a journal entry about a day in the life of someone in your chosen Varna. So your journal entry must include what your job is, where you live, what you own, and how you are treated by others or how you treat others. And you can type your journal entry in right here and submit it. So for the last time then, you'll go back to the Cast Then and Now slideshow. And the slideshow from that point forward is going to transition to more what life is like now in modern India with this caste system. So the idea of caste is changing in Indian society. In fact, it's been outlawed. It's been outlawed for quite a few years, but there's still quite a few supporters of the caste system. The people that support it say that it gives a division of labor, that everyone has a place in society and is useful. They say that it gives a person a sense of duty, provides support. Caste rules set clear expectations for the young. People that support this believe that it's rich in tradition, and it teaches people to put needs of the community above their own desires, and also interdependence, because each caste needs the others. When India became a country in 1947, there were new laws set up to outlaw untouchability and discrimination based on caste. There were also rules set up by the government to provide more opportunities for the lower castes and the Dalits to get an education, housing, and employment. This reservation system was a type of quota system. However, discrimination did not go away just because there were laws made about it. Caste is still linked with wealth and social status and can still play an important role in people's friendships, housing, education, employment, and even marriage opportunities. So the last part of this week's assignment, you're going to go to a document, a Google drawing that is cast in India today. You'll notice there's what's the word I'm looking for? A visual off to the side from Junior Scholastic that you can read through. But ultimately, you're going to fill out this document by watching first a video that has been posted in YouTube. So to find a link to that, that's on the final slide. The video is about 20 minutes long. You're going to watch it. It is called The Untouchable Kids in India. When you are finished watching the video, I want you to come over to this chart and try to get a few different in each column, but ways that the Dalits, meaning what were once called the Untouchables, how these people feel excluded, and their emotions from these people, how they feel about being excluded. There's a reflection question for you to answer. And then again, you will submit this assignment in the Google Classroom. Once you have finished this, you are done with your assignments in social studies, and you then have the rest of the time off for your spring break. Email me if you have any questions or concerns, and rest.